For a company like Samsung that has been making phones forever, it's really a shame that they have been able to crack the budget smartphone section online. Well, better late than never, because this is the all-new Samsung M10, and in this video, we're gonna find out if it is going to make a dent in the smartphone market. Hey, this is Sreehari from Mr. Phone, and let's jump into the video. But before we do that, subscribe to the channel or I'm going to shoot this bright light at you, and hit the bell icon right next to it so that you get notified as soon as we drop all our new videos. If I'd say that the Samsung M10 looks like a typical Samsung phone, I'd be wrong. If I say that the Samsung M10 looks like a typical budget phone, I'd still be wrong. The phone is made out of glossy polycarbonate, but it feels unusually premium. Also, the fact that after 2 days in my bag it not scratched one bit is something that has impressed me a lot. The single unit at the back gives out a seamless look, which probably makes it look and feel more premium than it actually is. Talking about ergonomics, I think this one again has me impressed. The glossy back does catch smudges very easily, but I have to say this, the M10 is a very comfortable phone to carry around. The power button and the volume rockers are both on the right side. The buttons are very clicky and tactile, and knowing Samsung, I'm pretty sure that you'll have a good experience with it too. The 3.5mm jack sits at the bottom along with a micro USB port instead of a USB-C port, which the M20 actually sports. The headphone jack performance is pretty standard, nothing to boast about, but the speakers, I have opinions about that. The speaker is at the back and fires away from you. I don't like that. There are barely any situations where the speaker isn't firing exactly in my opposite directions. I understand that having a bottom firing speaker could also have not been difficult to muffle, but having it at the back clearly makes it very difficult for me to watch videos on this. Also, when I'm playing games, I have my hand at the back and I always end up covering it up and muffling the sound. Apart from that, I think the design of the M10 does look and feel quite premium. Now, Samsung is worldwide known to be the best when it comes to smartphone displays, and that has also been one of the few redeeming qualities of its devices. Now, the one used here is a TFT panel, and I generally dismiss such a panel, but my god, has Samsung done a good job. This TFT panel has to be among the best I have ever seen in my life. It is still inferior to an IPS LCD panel that you find in other phones in the similar price range when it comes to viewing angles or colors, and the color temperature of the display is also slightly on the cooler side. That said, the viewing angles of the panel are really good. There was no color shift that were visible. Since it's a TFT panel, you also don't find light bleeding, which is really good for a phone at this price. Most phones in this price have some kind of light bleeding, but that's nowhere to be found on the M10. The brightness is also really good too. It stands head high among others in this price range, and I think the display on the M10 is among the best displays that I've seen in budget phones. Now, it does support widewine L1, which is present in very few phones under 20,000, and I'm impressed that Samsung went the extra length to get the M10 and the M20 certified. Now, what widewine L1 means is that when you watch online content, for example on Netflix, you can watch in HD without having a problem. If you have a widewine L3 certification, then you cannot do that. The Samsung M10 here comes with an Exynos 7870 chipset, which is an octa-core chipset, and our unit here has 3 gigs of RAM. Now, since this is an under 10,000 phone, I will talk about everyday performance first, because that's what it's mainly built for. So for people who are looking to buy a phone for casual use, I have good news, because the M10 might just be the one. My everyday use was a breeze, surfing through my social media a couple of times, watching videos on YouTube, checking YouTube Studio for analytics all day, Prime Video, Netflix, all of it has been fun. I even played small titles on this and had the most fun with it. The face unlock and even the standard pattern unlock was sometimes slow, but that was the extent of it. I think Samsung has done a great job at optimizing the software, and the experience has been quite graceful, I must say. Now for the geeks out there. The Antutu score of the M10 was rather low at 63,806, and also the Geekbench was low at 720 for single core and 3,564 for multi-core. Now these are low scores, and this is something that you will find in phones under 10,000. But that said, the scores are not reflective when it comes to the actual experience. Of course, when you're playing games, you'll feel the lack of performance. But apart from that, during general usage, I don't think you'll see a difference. The storage inside is also not the fastest, hence the slower load times for games and apps. The read speed is 209.01 MB per second and the write speed is 97 MB per second. Now these scores should clearly tell you that this phone is not made for gamers out there. If gaming is your priority, then you should definitely look elsewhere. I think at this price, the one phone that you can look for is the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M1 because it sports a Snapdragon 636, has the Adreno GPU, and you also get a 5000 mAh battery inside. And that, of course, slightly qualifies as a phone for gamers with a big battery. But what the M10 is for everyday use. So the M10 is mainly built for everyday use. That said, if you do want to play games on this, even the heavier titles, you most certainly can. Sure, you'd have to play at bare minimum graphics settings, but I don't think that's too bad for casual gamers. All in all, I think the performance on the M10 has certainly not been the greatest, but I think it does get the job done for an everyday casual user. Coming to software, the Samsung Experience Launcher has certainly improved a lot, and while it still isn't my favorite, it's not my least favorite either. The Samsung Experience has a lot of cool things implemented. For example, it's the ability to customize the home screen, from icon shapes to icon badges to home screen grids. Generally, you'd have to get a launcher for these kinds of customizations. Even the lock screen shows a notification in a unique way, where you see the icons and when you tap on them, the notification shade drops down, giving you all those notification cards, which is really cool. Now moving on, the quick settings panel also has been very well laid out, and I quite like the look of it. There are a ton of options already present in the quick settings panels, like the blue light filter, Dolby Atmos toggle, and Wi-Fi calling, which lets you make calls to other people with the same Wi-Fi network without having to connect to a mobile network. Cool, right? Now moving on to the settings, we have things arranged in a typical Oreo fashion with a Samsung touch. Now rather than taking you through the whole settings page, let me take you through my favorites. First we get to Dolby Atmos. Now we all know what a stupendous job Dolby is doing in audio. The Dolby Atmos tuning does lift the sound to a certain extent, giving it that oomph, if you will. You also can play around with the equalizer here, but I'd suggest you not to do that unless you know what you're doing. The sound settings also has a special adapt mode, which is a first for me too. So what it does is, according to your age, it adapts the sound for everything from music to watching videos to phone calls. So basically when you're younger, you have more sensitive ears that can pick up sound at lower values, but as you get older, that ability slowly diminishes. Adapt sound takes care of that. Cool, right? Another thing in the software that Ershad all went crazy about, he's actually reviewing the Samsung M20. There'll be a video up on the channel. Please go ahead and check that when you get time. But during the review of the M20, the one thing that he went crazy about was the Samsung theme. And he actually put a high contrast theme on it. Which made the whole system dark. Honestly, I did not get time to go to the theme store and get some themes on this phone. If I did, I would have also had some cool themes to show off in this video. The device maintenance tab also has a lot of tools built in, like a virus scanner powered by McAfee. You also have a memory booster. There is storage maintenance powered by 360, which also provides the ability inbuilt inside the settings page to delete duplicate images or junk, or even zip unused files to save space. These are all features that are rarely found straight out of the box. Now yes, these are brand names and this is a way for Samsung to earn money, but in the end, if it's useful for the consumers, then what's the harm? You also have face unlock on the M10. It works quite fine. Not the fastest out there, but not bad either. It's mostly accurate, and since it's the only biometric unlock on the phone, I had to make do. Now I'd be lying if I said that I didn't miss the fingerprint scanner, but I can tell you with confidence that this will not disappoint. All in all, I think the UI has a pleasant coat of paint, and even the native features, like in the dialer app, you can just simply swipe left or right on a contact to make a call or send a message. The whole thing just feels very well thought out and very premium. Coming to the camera, the Samsung M10 has a 13 megapixel f1.9 lens at the back, along with a 5 megapixel f2.2 wide angle lens. Yes, a wide angle lens for under 10,000. The front has a 5 megapixel camera at f2 aperture. Now, since it was the least expensive of the Samsung M series, I didn't really expect a lot from it, but Contrary to what I expected, I had a pleasant surprise looking at the pictures. The M10 takes some stunning pictures for its price. The face tones look good and pleasant. The portrait mode looks far more professional than any phone under 10,000. The close-up shots also look really good. The details are simply stunning and the colors have been handled very well. We just put up a camera comparison of the Samsung M20 with the Realme 2 Pro and the Redmi Note 6 Pro. The fight was brutal. You should go and check out that video. But the M10 takes equally good pictures. The selfies aren't something that I'm a fan of, and that was the same case with the M20, but the back camera is really impressive. In fact, the M20 and the M10 have the same camera specs at the back. There were even situations where the M10 took a better picture than the M20. Now that says a lot about a camera on a phone that is this affordable. Talking about the camera app, I think this is where Samsung just crushes the competition hands down. There just isn't any camera app in this price range that can give Samsung competition. The camera app is the same that is used in the Note 9, and when you think about it, you can understand how premium the software experience is. I'm a fan of the Samsung M10 features, and I think it could potentially be the best smartphone camera under 10,000 period. The Samsung M10 comes with a 3400 mAh battery inside. Now when you buy a phone under 10,000 rupees, you at least expect to have a chunky battery inside. Now 3400 mAh is not exactly chunky, but it's still a good battery. The battery will easily last you a full day of casual use, and it does hold on to the mAh very well. Now Samsung does include some heavy power saving modes on the phone, and you have a few options to choose from too. That's it. The one thing that according to me was a big problem was the charging speed. The M10 comes with a 5-watt charger in the box, and it took about 3 hours and 7 minutes to go from 0 to 100. This is just way too much time for me to not mention or not worry. In 2019, any consumer phone taking this long to charge is uncalled for. I think this is the only place where the Samsung M10 falls behind its competitors. Summarizing the whole review, you have a well-built polycarbonate body, great quality display with a minimal notch, a premium feeling software with ton of features, a good everyday performer. This is not meant for heavy gamers at all. You get a reliable 3400 mAh battery that takes forever to charge, and a camera that could potentially be the best smartphone camera under 10,000. Now looking at the competitors, you have the Redmi 6 Pro, you have the Realme 2, you also have the Honor 9N. These are not the phones that the Samsung M10 should be worried about, because in most parts, the Samsung M10 is better than all of them. But the one phone that is the real competitor for the Samsung M10 is the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M1, which was released last. When it comes to this Max Pro M1, it's slightly more powerful with a Snapdragon 636 and an Adreno GPU inside. You get a full HD plus display, nonetheless with an 18:9 aspect ratio display and bezels on top and bottom, and you get a 5000 mAh battery. Now, of course, even the 636 is not a very powerful chipset, but it is more powerful than the 7870. And if you are someone who has a tight budget of under 10,000 and you want to get a phone that helps you game the best, I think the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M1 is the choice to go for. That said, the quality modern display and the premium experience that extends from the software to the external design to the camera is something that makes the M10 a very compelling device. And with that, we come to an end of my review. Please let me know if you have any feedback for this video. If you liked this video, if you disliked this video, please let me know that in the comment section below, or by hitting the like or the dislike button. Don't hit the dislike button. We also have a camera comparison of the Samsung M20 versus the Redmi Note 6 Pro and the Realme 2 Pro. It will be linked in the description below. Please go ahead and check that. It was a brutal fight, and you would surely love to know who won. And there is also the review of the Samsung M20 up on the channel. Please go ahead and check that too. That's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. This is Sreehari from Mr. Phone with the Samsung M10, and I'll catch you in the next one.